Hello YouTube fans, bear with me. Now you're wondering why I'm doing this unless I'm using the old technology again. The reason why is because I'm talking about one of my favourites, that being Friday the 13th Part 3. And as it says in the trailer, in 3D. That's right, in 3D. Now as to the success of Friday the 13th Part 2, why not? One year after, I decided to do this one. Now, as you know, a lot of films were done in 3D. You know, you had Jaws 3D one year after this. Same year as that, you had Annabelle of Horror in 3D. So they decided to toss in on the 3D gimmick. Sad to say though, I don't know why I've got these on my eyes and I'm looking like a fucking dick. Because the film I've got of Friday the 13th, Part B, in 3D, isn't in fucking 3D. It's not in 3D. But I'd love, because I did remember once, I just put this on TV when they was doing a 3D marathon of this being in 3D. Yeah, there's a lot of 3D gimmicks in the film. You've got a scene where a woman's got a block of wood and it goes right in front of you, a bit like what I'm doing there. You got the scene where a knitting needle gets rammed in a fucking dosset. It's in fucking 3D. And a lot of other 3D gimmicks here and there. I know originally they was going to do this where it was in an obstacle with Amy Steele making a prize role. But after, there's a lot of slasher films in that era, you had one with Chuck Norris. If I can remember the name of the film, that's it, Silent Raids. Remember Silent Raids? That was in 3D. Well, not in 3D, duh. See, it's fucked my brain. I mean, Silent Raids was done in obstacle. You had the second Halloween, which I mentioned was done in obstacle. And you also had, if I can remember right there, Visiting Hours, which was also done in an obstacle. So the obstacle idea got scrapped because it was kind of been copied a bit of Halloween 2 with Amy Steele, following on Jason chasing her. But it does show a bit where it's just show a bit from the second one. Dude didn't mention what happened to fucking Paul. And then it shows him getting up. The only issue with Friday the 13th Part 3 is you still got the Bickaboo, the Tam the Man, bobbing up and down, pretending to be the fucking killer. But at this point, I just thought it wasn't needed. We knew at this point who the killer was going to be. It was going to be fucking Jason. You got one lad playing chicks on people, playing panks on people, your typical fucking Joker. Kind of feel sorry for him in one way, because it's a bit like Ty Wolf. He plays that many jokes that he gets his throat slit, and at all the woman thinks he's fucking about. And if you've seen the film, you know he's not fucking about. So it's not a bad one for them, that era. It's not a bad one. Again, you got a lot of 3D gimmicks. There's one lad, which you might, if you've ever seen the film which I mentioned and reviewed, that being Fright Night. One lad in it who plays a biker, and I think I've seen him before. Of course, he's the one that played the Bowser in Fright Night, the one in Vampire, slits his throat, and that was him. Again, you got a lot of 3D gimmicks, and let's not forget, this is the first time you see Jason put on the hockey mask. Yep, the hockey mask. You get a few decent deaths on the way. You got one guy standing on his hands, and Jason gets his fucking besetter and cuts the fucker in half. Literally cuts him in half. You get a nod of David Beakin's death and all, where he rams a spear. Not a spear, sorry. It's like this, the big sharp knife, like a skeever, and he rams it right in a fucking ducks in 3D style. And he doesn't fuck around because the girl who he kills is pregnant. So it just does show you that Jason doesn't fuck about. In number 2, he killed a lad who was paralysed, and in this one, he kills a pregnant woman. Definitely doesn't fuck about in the blood and gore department. And let's not forget the memorable death that he gets. One lad crushes his fucking head. And I thought when I first saw this, I thought he's just going to crush his head, typical like of the nod of Halloween 4. But no, crushes his head and his fucking eyeball goes and pops right out. I'm not shitting you, his eyeball just goes and pops right the fuck out. Again, it's 3D gimmicks, and you can see a fuck up there now. You see the wire pulling the fake eyeball. You can see it's a dummy head, but it's practical. And as you know, even when it's a fuck up in practical, I dilute it. As soon as it's practical, then fucking 3D gimmicks. You got another dirt in it, similar to Hazel and King and Amy Steele, but I don't think she was as good as them, but I don't think she was that bad. Very pretty, actually. Very pretty. Like overacting at the end. He's still alive! But I'd love to see him where that's a fucking axe on the fucker's head. Right on his head. And again, this is the first time you see him with the fucking hockey mast. Again, you got a few gruesome deaths. You got a couple of bikers, like I said. A dog gets a meat fart in a duck. VD again, point right in your fucking face. VD fucking gimmicks. This was definitely one that had a lot of 3D in it. Not a bad one if you're into films with 3D. The early 80s 3D, to me, as a time. And I've got to admit, I do love the fucking 80s disco music in it. It starts off right, we got bits, like I say, it's those bits from the second one. And then you got the 80s disco music. Bum, bum, bum. Bam, 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 bam. Does it sound shit, but the music is laughable. You do get a bit at the ending though, I've got to admit, that's a copy from the original where you think Jason jumps through the door, right? And you think Jason's going to get the door. Look, after she axes him on the head with a fucking axe. Long behold, it's his mummy. The mummy jumps out and gets the fucking door. Yeah, it's a bit of a rip-off of number one. But compared to how they originally was going to end it, where Jason, believe it or not, this is how it originally was going to end, was going to jump out and cut the fucking head off. I shit you not, he was going to behead her. And I thought, he did it in fucking, they were originally going to kill Amy Steele off, believe it or not. After killing fucking Hazel and King off, I couldn't be doing from killing Hazel and fucking Steele and killing this girl. But happy to say that doesn't happen. And I went with the ending what it was. Yeah, she went doolally at the end. Naturally, our mate's got fucking killed. Even choosing a boyfriend that gets flung for the fucking window. But all in all, it's not a bad one, for that era, for 1982. I delete Friday the 13th Part 3. It's a dud. Again, you've got the 3D gimmicks now are a bit dated, but to me, I like it. For the early 80s and for 3D gimmicks and for the third outing. And again, Jason, for the first time, gets his fucking hockey mast. I dilute it. So check it out, 1982. It's a fucking classic. And yep, I've got the mobile again. Might as well. Not long before I get a new one. But yeah, Friday the 13th, Part 3, and as it says in the trailer, in 3D. Is it fuck? But it was back in its day. Until then, 3D. See you later.